All right. Hey, everyone. Mark here. Hold on, adjusting my microphone. All right, here we go. Hey, everyone. Mark here, Mark P Markets. Thanks for joining me for another Bitcoin day trade setup session and our bigger picture swing trade price action analysis, where we'll be looking at both Bitcoin on the small time frame, we'll be looking at the larger time frame, and we'll be looking at other markets as well. And we're going to see if there are any day trade setups that are worth getting into today. Okay. Usually during these sessions, I try to find one. Maybe we get one, sometimes we don't get any, but most of the time we can find one. All right, anyway, so if you're new to the session, I want to welcome you. Most of you are regulars. Let me just say hello real quick. Got Stian, Eligius, Bill, good to see you. Alex, all right. We got Konstantinos. Okay, cool. All my regulars. All right, you guys know where to find me. All right, so before we get started here, let's just do this. This is for educational purposes only. For investment advice, please consult a licensed investment advisor. All right, and now real quick too, I just want to mention if you're just seeing about, you're just checking out these streams and you're interested in what I do, check out my training program. You can go to markpremarkets.com. Everything that I apply here, the basis of that comes from my training program. Okay, it's a 16-day video-based training program. It's very fluff free. Most of the people here have taken the program, they can tell you. All right, also, I have a Discord community. There's a free area. There's a lot of valuable information in that free area. I highly suggest you check that out. The link is in the description of this video. Check that out. And if you want to become a premium member, or you want to have access to these signals, like these signals that Steen is referring to here, there's a link to that as well. Okay, you can see the pricing package. I am running a Cyber Week sale, so if you are interested in that, send me a message inside the server, let me know, and I can give you a special coupon. Okay, that's good for this week only, so don't wait till next Monday. All right, anyway, so with all that, let's get going here. Some interesting Bitcoin price action we need to talk about. So again, today is Wednesday, and we know that Chairman Powell speaks today. Okay, we went over that on Monday. I don't know exactly what time he speaks. I'm going to guess it's around 10 a.m. I could be wrong because I haven't checked the time on the calendar, but I know that he's speaking. All right, so that means the markets will likely be erratic or slow, possibly, going into his speech. Typically, volume shrinks. That's not a healthy thing. Okay, and price action can become very random and very erratic, not worth getting involved in. All right, and Bitcoin may be affected by that. So we're going to take a look at that here. So please keep that in mind. Also, this week we have non-farm payrolls on Friday. So a lot of excuses for the market to do strange things. All right, and that's important because, again, we want to make sure that we are aware of our risks and that we can mitigate them. Okay, now with that, let's talk about Bitcoin first on the 30-minute chart. We're going into day trade mode here. Day trade mode means your mindset. First, we're going to look at this from the day trade perspective. For those of you that are new, a trade is not a trade. A day trade is not the same as a swing trade. The mentality is not the same. So you have to have a game plan for each, right? So first, we're going to start out with the day trade mentality. By the way, I don't like showing this to newer traders because it's the wrong place to start. If you're serious about this game, you really need to first build an academic foundation, and then you need to learn things from the bigger picture. That's the more effective way to go about this. It's also I like to use the word lesser risk way, because it's I don't like to use the word easier, but you know what I'm saying. It's not as the competition is not the same as it is when you're looking at the day trade time frame. You don't have to be as fast as you don't have to have you don't have to be as quick on your feet as a swing trader or as an investor. Okay, there are some advantages to that, but of course, when you're on the larger time frame, you are exposed to a greater magnitude of risk. Okay, but anyway, that's the better place to start, right, in terms of learning. Let's talk about day trades now, okay? I go into that spiel because I want you to know that this is not the right place if you're new, okay? There's a lot that goes on in the mentality portion of this, in the mental aspect of this, that I just can't explain here. Okay, so we're going to expand this 30-minute chart because I want to get an idea of structure and levels. That's really all I'm interested in as a day trader. I don't care for opinions. I don't care for news. I'm only interested in price action. I'm interested in momentum. That's it. So I need to think of the market from both sides all the time, and I have to have a very open mind. Okay. So if we can get a day trade signal here, I am going to use this this price ladder. We're going to get into the trade again, and we're going to see if we can watch P&Ls fluctuate. All right. So first things first is this structure on this 30-minute chart dating back to what, yesterday, is bullish. Okay, that's bullish. Higher lows, higher highs, all over the place. Now I drew this area. Right, this is from yesterday's analysis. I talked about this was an area here to take profits. Remember that, guys? For the long that we were basically talking about, and we were trying to carry a runner and all that stuff. Well, it blew right through that area. Okay, it eventually blew right through. It was not even like a there was no effect there at all. Again, that's a testament to why you can't place orders like that, limit orders to short, for example. Oh, I'm going to put a sell order there. I'm going to get short because I know it's a resistance. Random, blew right through it. This is very common on the day trade time frame. Okay, levels, they stick until they don't stick, right? So that's why we have to wait for structure. We have to wait for confirmation. Now, so this old resistance is now likely to act as a support. My students know that. They know why. I'm not going to explain that here. We also can look back, and we have some other previous resistance levels dating back over here. All right, that's likely to act as a support as well. So those are some support levels that we can consider for day trades on the long side if the market can test that low. This is not likely today, although with Chairman Powell speaking, I mean, who knows? But if he basically doesn't say anything surprising, like this area is probably not very probable, in today's time frame. Now, so taking us a little further, if I don't see, do I have any other resistance levels that are kind of closer to where we are? Look at this. Is this a coincidence? That's not a coincidence. All right, that was a resistance level that got rejected. Look at the rejection on the support over here. That's interesting and notable. All right, so obviously people are stuck on the short side there, possibly, whatever, there's buying activity. That's all we need to know. So these are our notable support levels. This is part of my game plan as a day trader. 16,778, okay? Basically, so where are we right now? We're at 16,846. That's a good, what, 70 pips, 70 points lower? So that's a very reasonable level. That would be a very attractive place for longs, okay? Now, what about resistance levels? Well, we have this resistance right here. That's pretty clear. And this one over here, right? This one up here. So keep in mind, all of these levels, because I'm looking at them on this time frame, are considered minor. They can easily be broken, okay? So don't, like I said, don't put a lot of weight on them. These would carry more weight if we were looking at a larger time frame. Now, so that's my resistance area, possible area for short setups, okay? This entire zone right here is a possible area for short setups. Again, as a day trader, I'm only after momentum. I'm not after home runs. If I can risk 50 or 60 points and I can get away with 100 or 120 points or something like that, that's all I'm looking for. It doesn't matter if it runs 500 points. If you're one of those people that's still stuck on that, you need to do something about that. Otherwise, donate your money to something more useful, all right? Because you're just going to throw your money out the window. Do not let greed get in the way. That's especially important as a day trader, especially important. All right, so we have this kind of figured out here. Now, let's look at the candle price action. We have, 12 minutes before this thing closes. So this looks like it's going to possibly close as a bearish pin bar. If it does, that can give us a sell signal. Now I say, oh, okay, cool. We'll have a short. Maybe we have to look at the 5-minute chart. The thing is, this is not exactly the most ideal location. It's not. This is a very minor old support resistance, right? Look how many times it's just overlapped through that level. That level doesn't really carry much weight, okay? So that's one concern. If I take a short on something like that, it's going to be highly aggressive. We'll see, but that's not like my first, it's not the first thing I want to do. All right, so please keep that in mind. So we've formulated basically some ideas based on the levels here. Now, next thing I'm going to do is we're going to go to the 5-minute chart. Okay, and on the 5-minute chart, I'm going to switch this over to the perp chart. All right, now these levels, I should have drawn these levels on the perp chart because now we're not going to have them. So let's go to the perp chart here. And that's going to be BTC, right? Let's see, perp. We're going to use the Binance chart. Actually, I could use the BitMEX chart. I want to use BitMEX today. Let's see, can I find, here's BitMEX over here. So let's use the BitMEX chart. Again, you should use, if you have if you have an account at one of these exchanges, BitMEX is a futures exchange, just like BitGet, just like, Binance. They all have like futures products. That's the chart you should use. So real quick, right, I'm just going to draw these levels on this chart real quick, right? They're basically going to be the same levels we just went over. And as we can see on the 5-minute chart, right, I mean, this thing's just been consolidating. It's just been in this range. That is no surprise going into a Chairman Powell speech, okay? No surprise. So let's see what we got here. Anyone know what time he's speaking? Usually Bill knows. He was mentioning short squeeze yesterday. Oh yeah, well, thanks. I'm a wizard. No, I'm not a wizard. What I am is a good listener. Okay, and I listen to the market. The market said that was highly likely, right? On Bitcoin, the levels, the location, and the rejection, right? We're going to talk about that on the bigger picture. That's all bigger picture stuff. So anyway, on the smaller picture here, again, I know my levels, right? That's pretty clear. And I know what I want to do around those levels. So what do I do now? Right? What do I do? Anyone, you know what? Let's make this a little interactive. How about you guys tell me, what, as a day trader, what should I do now? Anyone have any suggestions? Think about it. Anyone have any suggestions? I don't know if I should allow Bill to be part of this because he always gets these answers, and I want to give other people a chance. I'm only joking. Bill, you can answer too. All right. What should I do here? I'm asking you. What should I do here? Should I go long? Should I go short? Or should I stay flat? What do you guys think? You can just type in an answer. Long, short, flat. Those are the three choices. Those are the three choices that you're always faced with. Okay? Flat is a position. So long, short, or flat? Buy, sell, or nothing? You guys, I'm waiting for some answers. Or you could say, I don't know. You can say that too. Right? We don't have to force you into a trade. Or if you don't know, you can just say flat. So you tell me. I'm waiting for the answers, you guys. What should I do here? What should I do? I know there's a little bit of a delay here, so wait for opportune short. So okay, so Armin, I'm gonna accept that as flat. Okay, so Armin says flat, no trade, waiting for short. All right, anyone else? Come on, Armin. Armin had the courage to come up with an answer here. Don't be embarrassed. I only got 5 people watching. Come on, where is everyone? I only have 5 people watching. Man, is it me or is it like the environment today? It's probably me. Flat. Okay. Jeff. Okay. Jeff says flat. Anyone else? How is it that I only have 5 people watching? Do I have to rant now for the next hour about why I only have 5 people watching? Hope you guys at least click the like button or something. 5 people. Man. Meanwhile, there are morons out there that deliver a fraction of the value who get 2,000 people watching on the live stream. That's all I can say. This is all I can say. Okay, anyone else? Anyone else? Okay, so I got 2 flats. Well, that's a good answer. Okay, flat is a position. That's the answer that I would go with. Flat, no trade. There's nothing to do here. Okay, I mean, again, I don't know what time. Can anyone tell me when that Chairman Powell speech is coming out? Can anyone just check the calendar real quick? There should be a timestamp on that, right? Because this is going to be affected by that. So I'm just basically going to watch, draw some lines around some common levels here. Okay. And we're going to wait and see where this thing wants to, if it wants to test a level, a notable level like that, something like that for a possible signal, right? Possible long in that area. Hey, John Connor. All right. This is a possible area. Again, we'll see. Let the market tell us. So while we're waiting for this thing, Powell at 13:30. 13:30 Eastern time. Man, we have to wait. He couldn't do this a little earlier. Man, we have to send him a message. Come on, Chairman Powell. You got things to do. We can't wait all day for this guy to speak. Man, banker's hours. I'm going to have to send an email to Chairman Powell. He's not going to see it, but I'm going to send him an email anyway. Okay, so that's Bitcoin. There's nothing to do there. We're going to wait. Right now, while we're waiting, we're going to take a look at the bigger picture here. So Alex referred to the short squeeze that I have been talking about, right? I wrote about that in my TradingView article. If you guys don't read those TradingView articles, you should. And here's the value to something like this, because you could say, well, if you were so good, I pressed the wrong button. If you were so good, why wouldn't you call a long here? Why wouldn't you call a long, or a short or whatever? Why wouldn't you call something? I mean, this looks like a long now after the fact. There was a long signal there, right? Inside bar took out the high. Well, here's the thing. And my point on the article, and my point over the couple of previous couple of days that we've been looking at this, is this location is less than ideal. This location, I don't care about the formation. You're going to have a lot of novices come out. They're going to connect this bottom and this bottom. They're going to draw a bullish sloping trend line, and they're going to say we're in a bullish trend. We're not. Okay. This entire structure right here, that rectangle represents the consolidation that we're in. We have a resistance over here based on all of this. That's the 18K 300 area. That has not even been tested yet. Okay. In order for us to even think about a trend, we need to get out of the consolidation. So from a swing trade perspective, there's nothing going on here. If you took this long, people that know about the signals and all that stuff, if you took this long, you're in a very aggressive swing trade long. That's why I was not going to call that. I don't like this location. I could have called something, but why get people into a very random area? I just, and especially in front of all this news coming out, right? I called a couple of trades. What was it, on Monday or whatever? So that's enough. Like, I don't want to put too many trades in the channel. We don't need all that exposure going into these events, right? So we have a minor resistance now. I wouldn't be touching this thing long. Like I said, no longs. This is not even a great area to go short, because it's right at the midpoint of this consolidation, right? So we have to see. Now here's the value. I'm going to explain to you the value in this analysis, and the value that you get from like being in my chat room and stuff, or just around this type of analysis. I could have called the short there, right? This was a sell signal that appeared first, the red candle. That was the Captain Obvious move. I warned about that. I was not going to call that. I said that this, again, bad location for a short, extremely risky. We would need a catalyst, a very strong catalyst, to give that thing enough momentum to follow through and break that support, right? So I was able to help people avoid getting involved in this. That is valuable. People don't appreciate it because they say, well, it's not worth anything. Saving money or being able to avoid stops is where money comes from. Money doesn't come from the signals themselves. I know it's hard to understand, but you need to stop thinking like Captain Obvious. Saving money, right? Being able to avoid would-be stop-outs. Like, for example, I had that euro stop out, right? I got stopped out for 150 pips on the euro, the recent euro trade. There was a lot of opportunity in that trade to break even, but I wanted to give it a chance. Well, I took a stop instead. If I took that break even option instead, that would have been 150 pips saved. Okay. And then the next euro short that comes along or whatever, now that's, and if that turns into a profit, that's all profit. I don't have to make anything back. Right now, the next trade that I take in the euro, I have to make back this 150 pips. You understand? Saving money is the key thing here. Okay, that's the mentality you should have. Not, oh, I need to make money. Oh, I'm going to be a professional day trader. Ooh. And then you watch these morons on TikTok. Morons. Hey, look what I made $10,000 today. I am so cool. Oh, it's a fake account. Don't worry, you're not supposed to know that. Yeah. Anyway, so please don't get sucked into those dreams. Please. When we have our next bull cycle, all the morons, the mindless phone bot morons are going to come back out of the woodwork. All, again, they're going to think it's get rich time. This is a good time to learn now. Okay. This is a hard market. It's a bear market. You guys develop your educational foundation now. You will be prepared, much better prepared, and much more confident when things get good. Okay. When things get good, and you have the confidence, that's when you're in a position to capitalize on those moves that you're going to be too afraid to take when you're just learning. Okay, so I can't stress that enough. Learning is best in a bear market, not in a bull market or at a peak of a bull market like we had a year ago, and the whole world thought, yeah, this is great. I'm going to be a day trader. I'm going to be this. I'm going to be that. And you're learning at the absolute worst time, the top. Okay. Anyway, all right. Enough of that rant. So anyway, we got this on Bitcoin, right? We understand this. So there's nothing to do here. That's basically the point. It looks good, but don't be fooled by that. Look at the location. Recognize the things that you can't see. This is a highly random area. So either we test over here over the next few days for a possible long, right? Possible reversal, because I'm not going to short that. I'm not shorting the breakout. Although it's favored because of the general structure. I don't like those type of trades. So it's either, reversal there or short up here. That's more likely. Okay. The 18Ks, maybe 17Ks. I'm looking for a short setup there. That's the next swing trade I'd prefer to call. It's got a good reward risk. It's on the side of the bigger picture. I mean, there's just a lot more stacked in that thing's favor. That's what I'm interested in. Okay. So anyway, so that's that. Let's go back to how's our Bitcoin doing? Ooh, look at that. Interesting. Okay, there we go. There we go. Going into an attractive area. Good thing we waited. All right, so while we're watching that, because again, we're not going to step in front of it. We're now in an area of interest. We're going to wait for a setup. Okay, so let's now move along here on this Bitcoin on the daily chart, and let's move to let's take a look at the bond market. Okay, you guys should always be in this habit. In 4 hours. Yeah, I can't believe Powell is got to waste our time like that today. What's wrong with him? So here's the bond chart, right? The bond futures, 10-year note. Does this look bullish to you guys? A few weeks ago, it looked bullish, right? Everyone, oh, the bond market, bonds, rates. The Fed is gonna change their mind. We never took out this resistance. There was never any reason to believe that the bond market was bullish. Just because you get a couple of green candles doesn't mean anything. There's more than a couple. Okay, yeah, it's more than a couple, but we haven't taken out the range. Look at the location. Look at the levels. Okay, so we're rejecting off of that, and that's that is reasonable to expect. This rejection means rising rates. So if this momentum continues, again, we have Powell speaking in 4 hours. He may push this thing along further. Maybe the market knows something, right? Bond market is usually smarter than the other markets, right? A lot of smart money in this market. So maybe they know something. Perhaps he says something that pushes this market further, but these levels on the bonds are very reasonable. Also, testing the low is very reasonable, which means rates have not yet stabilized. We have no evidence of that. And the general trend on this thing is bearish. I don't even have to go to the bigger picture. We know it's bearish, okay? So this is a key area on the bonds. We have to see how this thing plays out. Now, Powell may say something dovish. He may surprise everyone, and you'll see this candle turn into a pin bar. But even that, all right, until we clear this level, we need to see this. We see something like this, right? Maybe not today, but we see something like that over the next few days. Like that right there would be some kind of notable change, right? We'd have to see it where it goes from there. I would expect a pullback, and I would expect this old resistance to become support. Those would be my general expectations. Then it would be up to the market to prove that. Now, keep in mind, I want to point out, an expectation is not exactly an opinion. It's something that I'm anticipating, okay? Like, okay, the market showed me this, so now this next event is more likely, right? I'm thinking that way, but I'm not thinking in an absolute way. I know that the market can do whatever it wants to do. So it's okay to have an expectation, but then the market needs to prove itself, right? That's why we use setups. That's why we use confirmation. I can have all the ideas I want. If the market doesn't agree with them, it doesn't matter, okay? The market is always right, not me. So anyway, so that's the deal with the bond market, right? So basically nothing has changed. We're still in a bearish environment. Let's now jump over to the stock market here. Let's go to the NASDAQ 100. All right, let me know how you guys are liking this so far. Let me see what you guys are saying. Okay, John Connor says flat. All right, John Connor. I'm not laughing at your name. It's just, that's the name of a famous character from a famous movie. Okay, ADP employment change. Oh, that came out. Thanks. So that was that the 10 o'clock number? That could be why Bitcoin had that little reaction there, possibly. GDP growth rate, quarter over quarter. Okay, all right. So perhaps that's why we got that little reaction, this little 10 o'clock reaction. Okay, that's cool. Took us right into the support. We got a tail on the Bitcoin here. I'm switching back and forth from bigger picture, right? Bigger picture mentality back to our day trade idea. So we touched the level, nice. Now maybe we get a setup here. Notice, I'm not reacting. I had no limit order. I'm not going to step in front of this. This thing could have broken through like it wasn't even there. We know that. I explained that. Maybe we get a pin bar here, an inside bar here. Maybe we get the setup. We'll see. It's not exactly the best location, but we came off the support. Okay, this is an area where buying activity has shown itself a couple of times, so we should note that. All right, what time is it? Okay, we have 4 minutes for this candle to close, so we'll see how that closes. All right, and if it closes, perhaps we'll get our setup. So this is the NASDAQ chart right here. Man, it looks very similar to the bond chart, does it not? In fact, I thought I was looking at the bond chart still. The NASDAQ, as I've talked about, is not, it came off this resistance. It was a bad place to be going long, okay? Now, this can turn into a long here where it is if we get a failed low. This would be a possible swing trade. It's an old resistance, possible support. It went slightly lower, right? It's trying to develop the inside bar there. We have to see the outcome of Powell. We have to see how that comes out. It may turn this into a bear candle very quickly. We don't know. But this location here, something like this would call for potential swing trade ideas in some stocks. But the thing is, don't make the mistake of thinking that we're in a bull market and that this thing's going to go up here. Don't make that mistake, okay? While it is possible, you still have all of this resistance to contend with. So this could be a place for a long, but it's going to be aggressive, okay? The more ideal place for a long would be somewhere in here, okay? Somewhere in there, or the low, right? That's where reversals are much more likely to be dramatic. But this can turn into a buy signal. And if you're playing the NASDAQ itself, again, the CFD, you can work with that as well, all right? But my point is, don't think that just because of, we get the buy signal, that this thing is just going to rally and we're now in a bull market. Please don't jump to those exaggerated conclusions, all right? We just evaluated the bond market. The bond market still says bear. If that still says bear, then this is not likely to go very far, even if you get a long signal. Make sure you understand that. All right, how much time do we got? 2 minutes. 2 minutes before this thing closes. So let's see if I could make my plan ahead of this thing here. So the high on this contract is 16,827. So we're going to say 830. Okay, 830 is going to be our entry. Our stop is going to go at 786. Okay, so 830, 786. Let's see. I can actually place those limit orders. Right. If I find 830 on here, here's it. Let's see if I can. Can I scroll this thing up? Man, is this thing even moving? I'm not getting any action on here. I'm going to assume it's moving, but man, look at this. There's nothing going on. Are my numbers changing? No. Maybe that's because maybe that's the BitMEX connection. All right. Well, I'm going to put the order up here anyway. So that's where I want the order to be. Okay. Now this candle is still open. Control R. I don't want to mess up this connection here. I'm going to assume that it's still working. I just don't see this thing. Usually this thing is, oh, there, it moved. 625. All right, the prices match. Okay, it's closed. All right, so 630. I'm going to see if I can put the limit order up there. Man, this thing is just going to go. All right, so I'm just going to have to buy it. Forget putting the orders. We're at 627. There we are, right? I'm taking it. So I bought it at, here it says, do I have a price? 628. All right, just below 630. 630 was the level. 628, I'm long too. Okay, we're now at, okay, 630. So I got it a tiny bit earlier, no problem. This price ladder could be a little bit better, but all right, it's moving. It's moving. Now here's the thing. Let's put in the other orders. So I'm long from 630. My risk, we said, is about 70 points, right? So that puts me at what would you say the low was there? I'm sorry, did I say 630? I meant 830. I meant 830. Okay, so the stop is going to go around 770, something like that, right? The low here is 786. We'll put it at 780. That's where we're going to put the stop. So I'm actually going to open this thing up here, okay? And we're going to alter, we're going to modify the order, right? We're going to put the stop here, and we're going to put the stop at a price. We're going to put 780, okay? That's the stop, 780. Now, as far as the take profit goes, you see I have two contracts, right? So here's what I'm going to do. See, if I use this take profit, it's going to blow out both contracts. I don't want that. So what I can do is I can put a limit order on its own to sell one, okay, at a specified price, or I can just manually blow it out, okay? So here's what I'll do. I'll put in the limit order for one. The reason why I took two contracts is because, again, I want to demonstrate the runner. And I'll see if the market gives me the opportunity to demonstrate that. I don't know if it will, but we'll find out. All right, so I hope you're not confused that I'm jumping back and forth here, but that's what I do on these streams because sometimes Bitcoin takes forever to give us a signal, right? So while we're waiting, I can talk about other markets. Anyway, we have a signal. Let this thing do its thing. So if I'm risking, what was that, 70 points? 30 to 80, what is that, 50? I think it's like 50 points, right? Is that 50 points? I'm just thinking off the top of my head very quickly. So we'll look for 100 points right off the bat, basically 2-to-1 reward risk. That's ideal. I don't know if the market's going to deliver that, but that would be ideal. So I'll start with that, okay? And I'm going to put a limit order for one contract at that price. So if I'm long from, what was I saying I'm long from? 828, so 928 would have to be the target. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my order. No, actually, I can't do it there. I have to create a new order, right, to do that. So I'm going to go here to the order form, okay, and I'm going to set a limit order, and I'm going to set the contract size, right, units, right, 1 unit, because we're only going to sell one, and I'm going to try to hold on to one, and we want that at 968, right? No, I'm sorry, 930. We're going to put 930. 16,930. That's where we would like it to go. Now, don't know if I'm going to get that, but that order, notice I'm not messing around with the take profit or the stop loss. This is its own standalone order to sell one lot, okay? Because I'm long two. So I'm going to put that in there, and now I have my order in there, right? So my order's placed, sell. Oh, wait. Oh, I forgot to press the sell button. So I bought another one. Oh, man. As you can see, I don't practice with this practice platform very often. So let me go back and let me blow that out now because I don't want two contracts. I don't want three contracts. So I got to sell one, right? It says I'm long three. Yeah. Got to sell one. I don't want that one. It's a mistake. So I'm not going to hold on to three. I only want two. This may turn into a loss. I may have to blow this out. So anyway, no, we're going to go back to this one contract. And again, I'm going to place an order. Okay. I'm going to place an order to sell one. We're going to sell one. All right. And where's my buy and sell here? Here we go. Sell. Forgot to press that first. And we're going to go 16,930. Okay. That is where I want to sell my one contract. All right. So again, now, oh, there it goes, right? 930. Sell one. Now we have a bearish pin bar here. So I placed my order to exit one contract. All right, I have two contracts, right? Two, and I'm long from, well, it changed my average price because I bought that third one by mistake. So basically I'm long two from 628, right? I'm sorry, 828. I keep saying 828. I want this thing to see if it goes to 928. That's the ideal price. I may have to get out earlier. Now, the whole point with the runner is I put one for sale there. Okay, one, not two, because I may have to blow out the first one earlier, possibly. Or if this thing goes straight up there, for example, which it's not doing, but if this thing were to go straight to that price, 930, it would sell my one, and then I would give my second one a chance. Maybe it wants to run more, right? That's where now I manage the trade. At that point, I could move my stop to break even. That would be a good time to move my stop to break even. Possibly trail the stop manually. Okay, I don't really talk much about manual trailing stops, but I can also demonstrate that on here as well. But I don't think the market's going to give me the opportunity to do that today. We'll see. All right, so let's see how this plays out. This is not a good candle. It's a conflicting signal. Again, this is on paper, okay? And now if this was real money, would I blow this out right here? No, I would give this a chance because the location, I mean, yes, it's conflicting, but look where we are. You know, you have to give this a chance. And this is not, I wouldn't short this here. If I was flat, would I short this here? No. That's a definitive no. I wouldn't short that there. Okay. It's the middle of the range. Bad place to short. If I was going to go short, I'd want to go short up here somewhere. So that pin bar needs to be up there, not here. All right. So that's where the location comes into play. All right. So we're going to monitor that. We'll see how that goes. Hopefully the trade stays in play. All right, now back to the bigger picture. So we talked about the NASDAQ, okay? We talked about this NASDAQ. This can turn into a buy signal, and that could be a buy signal for the NASDAQ itself or for particular mainstream stocks that you watch. One more point about the day trade. This type of price action, by the way, is very typical going into a Chairman Powell speech or that type of event. All right, please keep that in mind. That's why I don't like taking trades going into that. And let me just show you, right? We can just take a look at the NASDAQ real quick on the 5-minute, right? Look, here's the 5-minute NASDAQ. Watch. Does this not look the same? Does this not look similar? All right. I mean, look, the NASDAQ is pulling back a bit, right? Bitcoin's pulling back a bit, but this is not really doing anything. This is a 5-minute NASDAQ. So you want to look for correlation. You look for the correlation between these two markets, not the US dollar. All right, when it comes to day trades. Now let's go back. I just wanted to make that point. Let's now go back and let's move along here on this bigger picture. And let's take a look now at the dollar index. Speaking of the dollar, what is going on with the dollar? So, and Steen pointed out before that my euro trade has not been filled. We'll talk about that. That's one of the problems with using limit orders like I used, but it missed it by a half a pip. It's ridiculous, but that happens, right? I should be short the euro. It should have filled, and that would have been a nice position to be sitting in. with the thing, 50 or 60 pips in my favor going into the Chairman Powell speech, that would have been a nice position to sit in. But I never got filled. I'm not going to take this short at 103.30. I'm just not going to do it. I don't like that price. Okay, I tried that the first time and I got stopped out for 150 pips. So that I bring that up again because that all relates to the dollar. So we have this double bottom on the dollar, all right, the dollar index. And as you can see, it's trying to hold itself up, right? Look at the bullish pin bar. Look at the bullish pin bar yesterday. Look at the outside bar from a couple of days ago. I think that was Friday. And it's trying to hold itself up in an area where this type of behavior is reasonable to expect. I always bring up the weekly chart on the dollar to gain perspective, right? Look at this. Does this look bearish to you? I hope you say no, because that's a buy signal developing on the weekly chart on the dollar. This is nothing but higher lows and higher highs. We have a Federal Reserve that's generally been hawkish. We have a bond market that looks like it's going to test its lows again. Where do you think this thing's going to go? Okay, so that idea is based on price structure. Is that an opinion? Well, I guess you can say it's an opinion because the market does whatever it wants to do. But based on the structure, it's very reasonable to anticipate a move to that level on the dollar. It's reasonable, all right? And that's assuming that the dollar does not make a new high. We're just, expecting a possible test of high. That's within reason if this structure is maintained. If the structure breaks, then we have another story. That's up to the market, okay? But if the structure maintains itself, we get that push for whatever reason. Maybe NFP could be the beginning of that. Maybe Chairman Powell today will be the beginning of that. I don't know, but that was the move I was looking for, and I wanted to be short the dollar. Okay, I'm sorry, I wanted to be short the euro for that, and I'm not short the euro. Now, here's the thing with that limit order. Let's go back to the euro. Right, let's talk about that euro, because I'll show you. I placed the limit order. Let's talk about that, right? And again, this was all placed in the channel on the server, all right, for members. They all saw that. That was placed here. Look at the price on this red candle, 103.94.5. That's right here. Okay. Look at today's high, 103. Oh, wait a minute. What is that? Is that right? 103.99. Is that correct? Is that today's high? Oh, I have to check my account again. I thought I haven't checked since yesterday. When was this? Hold on. Let's take a look here. This is a new piece of information. Let's go to the 5-minute on that euro. I may be filled, and I hadn't even realized it. Oh no, this was recent. This was okay. No wonder. This is a 5-minute on the euro. So that's like what, about an hour ago? Maybe close to that. 103.99. Yeah. My order was at 95. I'm filled now, Stian. I should be. I have to check my account, but I should be. Yeah, John, so I went over the dollar index. All right. Let me see. Powell timed his speech with consideration to other reports during the day. We had ADP, GDP. That's a good question, Bill. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how they schedule. I don't know if they're coordinated, or if that's just because, he's playing golf all day and that's a convenient time for him. I don't know. That's a good question, though. Anyway, okay, so this is interesting. This is interesting because this filled while I was doing my stream here. This thing filled at 9:45. No wonder why. I was like, oh, I'm not filled. Yes, I am filled. I'm short. I'm short the euro. Okay, so I placed this order in my account on Monday, right? Stian knows. Everyone else that's in the channel knows. And it was at 103.94, 103.95. This thing tapped my order 20 minutes ago, whatever, an hour ago, 9:45. Okay, and I am now short. Nothing is working nicely. Okay, so, okay, there you go. Let's talk about that. Now let's go back to the 1440 chart. Well, so I got that entry again. So let's talk about that entry. So I placed that order on Monday. Okay. Monday evening, I put that order out, and it was a sell limit order for people. Again, you can confirm that. Go into the channel, go check the Signal channel. You will see it, and you will see it with a timestamp. Okay, I put it at 103.95. At the time, the euro was at 103.70. My rationale was this market is going to be noisy. We have a lot of news coming out this week. Chances are this thing will test 104 again. And I don't want to sell near the lower part of the range. I'm going to use a limit order to sell near the higher part of the range. Okay, but not this high, because I think that's a little unreasonable. I wanted a high probability level. So I chose the midpoint, basically. Okay, and I put it up, 103.95. Now, yesterday, this thing went to 103.94 and a half, and it missed my order by a half a pip. And I said, you know what? That sucks. I should be short, and I'm not short. It missed it by a half a pip, but that's the game you play with limit orders. That can happen. So I said, I'm going to leave the limit order in there anyway. I'm going to leave it in there because we still have Powell coming out. He may say something that spikes the euro. Well, I got the spike before he even came out. You see what I mean by noise? I mean, it just tapped me in. It went four pips higher than my entry, and now it's what, 50 pips in my favor? About something like that. A little more than 50 pips. Now that's a great position to be in. Now you say, oh, I want to do that every time. That was a very particular situation. I normally don't use limit orders to get into the market, but because I'm anticipating a lot of noise, and because we're in a generally resistant area, I figured I'm going to capitalize on the noise. In fact, I wrote that in the trade idea that I sent out on that day. So this is nice. Today is Wednesday. It took 2.5, basically 1.5 days for that thing to get filled. You see, but patience pays. I left the order in, and the market tapped me in. Great. Now I have a nice short position going into this news. If Powell comes out hawkish, right, and dollar rallies, that thing is, the target for that thing is 100.95 or whatever. It's a 300 pip target. I don't expect to reach that today, but that's a very reasonable target over the next week. Okay, and if that trade works out, that will make up for the 2 euro stop outs that I had previously, and then some. That would actually put me ahead a little bit, right? Because the loss, if you look at the loss between the 2 euro stop outs that I had, it adds up to like 210 pips or something like that. No, more than that, right? One was 150, one was 110. So that's 260 pips, something like that, right? 200 pips, that's between two trades, a loss of 260 pips. If I make 300 back on this one, I am up 40 pips. Okay, so I eat up those losing trades, plus I am now ahead. That's how this game works. All right, and now hopefully, now keep in mind, this trade has to make back those 2 losing trades. If I had taken the opportunity to break even on my previous trade, which I had chosen not to do, then this would all be pure profit. I wouldn't have to make anything back. I'd have to make back 110 pips for my previous loss, right? And this would be all green. This would all basically eating that up, right? And it'd be like all profit. I wouldn't have to make up an extra 150 pips. Does that make sense to you guys? So that break even would have been extremely valuable, and it would have made this trade very green. Does that make sense? That's why managing the risk, taking opportunities to break even, right, and give back. I gave back 100 pips of profit on that, okay? And then I let the thing go to the stop. I went from plus 100 to minus 150. That's a big swing. So imagine if when I was up 100 pips, I put the stop at break even. I would have been broken even, and I would have gotten back into this one, right? And I never would have had to deal with that losing trade. That is how you make money. I know it's boring, everything I just described. I know it's boring, but you want to know how to make money, that's how. Okay? That's how you make money. Not all these nonsense gimmicks that people are always putting in your face with the magical oscillator and my magical strategy and all this other garbage. If you believe in dreams, your account is also going to be a dream. Okay, it's going to evaporate into like a dream. The money is going to be fake. It's not going to be real. You're going to donate it. All right. So stop believing in dreams. The market doesn't work like that. This is a very hard game. In fact, I tell beginners, especially if a young guy comes along and I want to get into this, I tell them, don't get into this. This is not the right. This is not as glamorous as it looks. Don't get into this game. There are much better ways to make money than this. Okay, this is all, but they all buy into that hype. Okay, they buy into those dreams they sell on YouTube, on TikTok, and all these other places of all these guys making money. 99% of that stuff is fake. Okay, it's fake, and there are many ways that they can fake their P&Ls and all that kind of stuff and make it look real. All right, so please don't buy into those dreams. And stop buying into hope. If you may have an emotional problem if you still believe that stuff. Like I always tell people, people are willing to spend $1,000 on a dream than spend $300, like on my training program, that will actually provide an effective way to protect yourself and protect your capital. They would rather spend $1,000 on the idea that they're going to make $50,000 every day, which is complete nonsense. And they spend all that money plus all the money they're going to lose on top of that when they try out this thing that doesn't work. And then it's the market. All these other excuses. You bought a dream. It's nonsense. You can't beat a random market. You can't beat an efficient market typically. If you don't have that academic foundation, you're just wasting time. Please understand that. It took me 15 years to arrive at these concepts and then begin to see some consistency. And that's because I went the trial and error route. Okay, basically, don't make those mistakes like I've made. That's why I teach. All right, now let's so that euro situation is interesting, right? All right, let's go back. Let's just change this chart. People asking questions here. Oh, I have some time to maybe answer a question or something. What's going on here? Okay. All right. It took the market price for that one. It took market price for that one. Okay. You can cancel from the paper trade thing. You can cancel. Oh yeah, no, I know. I can make adjustments. I can do stuff with that. I have some control over here. This thing is not looking real good. This day trade, by the way. Let's see what's going on here with the P&L. So I'm minus like $41 there. It looks like. Okay, so we'll see how that goes. We'll give it a little bit more time here. This is what takes the stream so long. It's the trade and looking for an outcome from the trade. All right, so let me see what we have here. Any questions? Click sell. I'm not sure what you're talking about there. Click sell. Maybe you were talking about when I was setting up the order. Yeah, that's probably what you're talking about there. All right. So, okay, I'm just looking back at the chat. All right, cool. So let's just look around here a bit. Here's what I want to do while we're waiting for this Bitcoin to do something. QNT. I just want to go and I want to look at some nonsense coins, right? That were previously very popular, and people ask me a lot of questions about. Right? I just want to point a few things out. Right, because everyone usually asks me when it looks like this, and I always warn people that this is what's coming, right? That's the likelihood of what's coming. So anyway, look where we are now, right? I just want to point this out because it looks very similar to that Bitcoin situation, right? High or low, looks like it's going to go for this resistance, right? Looks like it's going to possibly break that out, all that. But the thing is, while this structure, right, everyone's going to focus on this because they only want to see what they want to see, right? They want to see optimistic and hopeful things. You cannot ignore this, right? That structure is still in play. And one resistance is going to be this area right there. So I want to point that out because while things are looking promising in some markets, right, like this, what's another one that was really popular? QNT was one of them. Was it Maker, MKR, USD? Another one, right? Look, I mean, that one doesn't look anywhere near as good. That's what I mean. These things are garbage, okay? Don't get sucked into this nonsense. That's what I want to point out here. These technical situations aren't good. and they haven't taken out any resistance levels. Even if they take out some minor resistance levels, it doesn't really change the environment. And that's the key thing that people don't take into consideration, the context of the environment, right? That's why I always go back to the bond market and start with that. That's where your environment begins. That's where the game begins or doesn't begin, right? It all starts there. And when it comes to altcoins, Bitcoin is the starting point, right? Look, Bitcoin's looking nice, right? Generally there, okay, with that candle. But like I said before, it doesn't mean anything because we're not out of this range, right? It doesn't mean anything. So don't get caught up in the nonsense and all the hype that this is going to generate. People make money on attention. Understand how YouTube works, right? These fake gurus receive rewards for your attention. So you watch their entire video, they get a reward for that, okay? You click on their video, they get a reward for that. You don't pay them personally, but they get a reward, okay? And that reward compounds into other rewards. That's why they get so big and they make all this money. Meanwhile, they have very little value to offer. They just put on a good show, right? They talk a good talk. They put up a nice video, a nice quality video. It's entertaining. It seems to be informative, but if you actually practice what they tell you, you lose. Okay, I've seen that so many times. Anyway, so I want to point that out. Another thing I want to mention while we're waiting for Bitcoin to do something interesting here. Another thing I want to mention is the environment that's coming. Okay, over the next 6 months. Again, I've seen a few places, a few instances of this. We're looking at a heavy regulatory environment. So Bitcoin and the alts are going to go through this regulatory phase. What I suggest to people, and I put this in the chat yesterday, we need to keep an eye on the SEC. We need to keep an eye on the CFTC. We need to keep an eye on the NFA. These are all the regulatory agencies. There's FinCEN. There's a whole bunch of them. Keep an eye on them because they're going to be coming out with regulation. Sometimes they slip it quietly through and people don't pay attention to it. That's something to pay attention to, because if they come out and they determine that altcoins are securities, it's not just the regulation itself that will filter out, it's the cost, right? Regulations means cost for if you're an altcoin producer or whatever you are. It's like having a stock. You want to have a stock, you want to sell the stock publicly, you have to register with the SEC. It's very expensive and it's a very time-consuming process, and it takes forever for the stock to reach the market, right? You have to pay regulatory fees, registration fees. You have to pay lawyers. You have to pay accountants. All this money that you never had to pay before now becomes a liability, right? And that's going to weigh on the balance sheet of these things. Balance sheets that we cannot see, right? They don't share as we saw with FTX, we were not aware of the reality of their balance sheet, okay? And that's what led to the whole FTX situation, a leaked balance sheet, from what I understand. And everyone saw, oh, they have this huge supply of FTT token. That wasn't factored into the market. Where was that? How did that come about, right? We don't know the truth behind most of these coins. We don't know because they don't have to report it, right? So they're going to have to be transparent. That's part of being regulated, right? When you're regulated, you then have to publish public financial statements that people can scrutinize and all that other stuff. So the reason why I'm bringing this up is because we don't have an optimistic future right now. The perception is not optimistic for that space. So if you're going to be accumulating, people keep asking me about accumulation and all that. If you're going to do it, stay small, because there's nothing right now that is showing anything of promise. If anything, my plan for the alt space was to wait for money to become cheaper. Okay, that's the first step that I wanted to see, and we don't have that yet. I mean, I'm talking significantly cheaper, meaning the bond market needs to have a significant rally, and the dollar needs to start showing us a bearish trend, which we have not started yet. That's the first thing I want to see. And when I see that, I don't expect the altcoin market to just turn around. Okay, but the dollar's turned, let's all buy altcoins. I don't expect it to be like that. There's going to be a lag. There's going to be a delay. All right, just like when the market peaked, just like the previous altcoin rally, the bottom of that, it wasn't like a clear-cut thing. So I need to see some things in place first, and then I would be open to the idea. Even though I am not a believer in these altcoins, like I tell people, hey, if there's an opportunity there and we can get good prices and we can get in for reasonable risks, hey, why not? There's nothing wrong with getting involved in them. Just understand what you're dealing with and avoid the dreams. Okay, if you think, oh, I bought VeChain and it's gonna, it's gonna 50x and I'm gonna invest $50,000 into it, you're nuts. If $50,000 is a lot of money to you. Now, if you have $500 million, then yeah, $50,000 is a small, it's like investing a tiny percent of what you got. Yeah, okay, I get it, no problem. But if $50,000 is all you got, you should not be putting all of that into the market. You're nuts. That's extremely high risk into extremely high risk assets. So again, I'm going to be looking around. I don't believe that the coins that we see right now are going to be the coins of the future, if there are any. Okay, we need to see how the uncertainty of the regulation unfolds. That's why I'm giving you this speech right now. So please keep that in mind. I know we're all looking for the bottom. I am too. And I want to have a plan for when this speculative money is going to come back. But I suspect that the coins that are going to be popular, again, if they're able to even be popular, they're not going to be the same coins that we see now. Okay, they'll probably be names that we don't know, that we're not familiar with. They may be new. Okay, but the regulation may be heavy enough to prevent that from even happening. So that's why I started out this whole speech with, we need to keep an eye on the regulatory agencies. People don't pay attention to them. Brazil legalizes as a method of payment. Okay, that's interesting. Not all that bad. There's some adoption. Okay, but that's okay. But again, Brazil, they're not exactly a financial leader. Right? I'm saying, like, when we see pay attention to the SEC, pay attention to the agencies I mentioned. They're the ones that control the world, not Brazil. So it's positive, but we need to be objective here, right? That's the whole thing, objective. So we're not going to feel good, we're not going to feel bad. We're going to be objective, and we're going to look at factual information. Yeah, what you delivered there, that's a fact. Okay, Brazil legalizes, but Brazil is a small potato in the bigger picture. It just is. I'm nothing against Brazil, but and I know they have a somewhat decent economy, like in terms of magnitude. I understand in South America, I understand, but they're not the Federal Reserve. Okay, they're not the U.S. dollar. They don't control the world reserve currency. All those things. Okay, anyway, how's this Bitcoin doing? I keep talking because I see some green candles. I should not be talking. I should have cut this thing off like 30 minutes ago. But I see some green candles here. So let's see what's going on. All right, so you guys got my regulatory speech. All right, so we're at 834. Man, this thing's barely in our favor. I waited all this time. I'm thinking, oh, I must be up like $100. I'm up like nothing. But all right, it's still green at least. So what time is it? All right, we got 3 minutes for this next candle to close. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to let that close, and then we'll make some decisions. And while we're doing that, I might as well expand this chart, okay, the 5-minute chart, and we'll let this thing go here. Now, some people may wonder, why 5 minutes? Why not like a 1-minute chart? Have you ever tried to trade a 1-minute chart? The noise is extreme. You will tend to overtrade, and the costs will render the whole effort useless. Okay. If you as a day trader, you have to pay very close attention to the cost. If you're taking 2 or 3 trades in a day, that's about reasonable. Okay, 3 trades is actually a very busy day. An ideal day is like 1 trade. It's green, and you turn your platform off. That's ideal for a day trader. But I watch these stock guys, and they trade thousands of trades a day. That's not the same game exactly. Okay, and a lot of these stock guys, they may have like a special commission arrangement sometimes, or something like that, or perhaps they get a rebate, and their cost is not the same. So if the guy trades 100,000 shares in a day, it's still, he's not paying the full cost of that. Anyway, that's another story. we're not dealing with stocks here. We're dealing with Bitcoin futures. So anyway, so keep that in mind, right? 1 to 3 trades is really all you should be looking at as a day trader. So where are we? 838. Man, this thing's slow. But again, shouldn't expect much on a Chairman Powell speech day, and also on a week going into NFP. We have NFP on Friday. I'll move to Brazil if I have to. Live in yeah, right. I've been to Rio de Janeiro. I've been to Brazil. I've seen that there's one of those favelas like right there in the city there. Man, it's not a pretty sight. I can tell you, they make it look glamorous on movies and stuff. It's not glamorous. If you want to find trouble in Rio de Janeiro, you can find trouble very quickly. I can tell you that. Interesting place though. So, okay. How we doing here? All right. How much time do we got? We got 1 minute. Let's see how this thing goes in the next minute, and then we're going to make some adjustments. Okay. Because I have to I have to turn off the stream here. And we got 10 people watching. I hope people watch these videos. Anyway, I just want to put this out there. If anyone is good at cutting video or video production, if you know anyone and you want to put them in contact with me, send me a private message in the server. I'd like to just talk to someone. I can go to Fiverr and stuff, I know, but I'd rather talk to someone that I have a reference on and all that stuff. I want to start there. But anyway, I just want to put it out there. All right. So here we have to make some adjustments. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to close one contract. Okay. Because here I got one. I'm just going to blow it out at market because this thing sucks. I'm at like basically at break even. So I'm going to sell one at market. Okay. So I'm out at one. Basically broke even on that. Okay, maybe lost a tiny bit, right? 827. I think my original long was from 828, so I lost 8 point. Okay, so we'll consider that break even, right? Still one lot in, so the stop is going to be in place. In fact, yeah, I'm going to leave these orders here, right? The stop is at 780, so we're going to leave that there, and the target I'm just going to leave it there, okay? And see if that thing does anything. So I've basically reduced my risk somewhat because now I only have one contract instead of two. If this thing recovers and works its way up there, great. If it goes to the stop, hey, that's a chance you take. If you don't like that idea, you blow it all out now because there's nothing going on here. This is complete nonsense, right? So you're going to sit here and just wasting our time. So that's it. Now, if it reverses at that support area again, a new possible long, but just keep in mind, the closer and closer we get to Powell speaking, the worse this is likely to get. You're not going to see more movement. You're going to see less movement. All right. And then when Powell comes out, you may see some dramatic moves after that, following, as he's speaking and then following his speech. That's really the more appropriate time to be looking for these type of trades. Okay, you guys. So I don't see any questions or anything. I gotta wrap this up. I want to thank you all for taking the time to watch me today. I know it gets longer and longer every time. Anyway, but I have to really try to keep these things shorter. Thank you for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day, the rest of your evening, wherever you are in the world. And again, thank you. Thank you for watching.